Yada, yada, yada.
All right, so this hangout is on air live. So if you're watching this through YouTube later, what you're getting is the behind the scenes of how we record the episode of Success Freaks. This week's is 148. Baby stepping to
Total Money Makeover.
Total Money Makeover. There's my list. The Total Money Makeover. Of course, this is Dave Ramsey's principles. Hey, you're drinking from Success Freaks. I wish I was drinking from my Success Freaks mug, but it's still missing.
Yeah, it's actually probably in Ohio being repaired.
Awesome. And since we've gone to mornings, I no longer use my goblet of the bat, but I do have it because I'm using my cup of power.
Excellent.
So yeah, you get stuff like that where we're goofing off with our coffee. You get our refresh on YouTube. Oh, because it's on Success Freaks YouTube, and it should be not on mine anymore. Search YouTube.com. I think it's /success_freaks. Just search Success Freaks on YouTube. It has our current logo because there's two that we set up. One has the old logo. One has the current logo.
Or current.
No. So yeah, or on Google Plus, of course, under Success Freaks. This is also being viewed and recorded there. So we're about to do the show for syndication, but you'll get all the wacky hijinks. I was on the right one. Just popped up. She's on the right one. Good. Sorry. And there's a little bit of delay. I think it's about a 10-second delay maybe there. So, all right, sir. I've got the old music ready, and I've got the timer ready. So I guess what I'm saying is I am ready if you are.
Sure enough am. Let's do it.
All right, I'm going to do marker, time, music is how that's going to roll.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Hang on, let me get my timey thing ready. Wimey-timey.
Yeah, you're so not a Doctor Who fan. Don't even pretend.
I am.
No. You're an observer of the show.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I observed the show. Although I do have cufflinks, so I think that counts for something.
That counts as some fan knew you watched the show gave it to you.
I think I bought them. No, Rochelle gave them to me. That's right.
Yeah. See, Daddy knows. Are you ready with the timer?
Yeah.
All right. Mark, time, and unmute and play.
This is R. Morton Mon.
And I am Charles McFall. And we are all about bigger, badder, better, more.
Bigger, badder, better, more. We're here to help others be awesome.
And you've landed on the comedic motivational show, Success Freaks.
Welcome everyone to the #1 Live Like No One Else So You Can Live Like No One Else comedic motivational show, otherwise known as Success Freaks. Today's working title is episode 148, Baby Steppin' to a Total Money Makeover. And today we are coming at you semi-live from Ackworth, Georgia, and the Bears Den in Monticello, Georgia as well. And in that Bears Den, grinning at me because I'm repeating myself, is the dark side of positive, Charles McFall.
You know, people may raise the question of, well, if you're both in Georgia, why are you not here? And that's simply because you're heading out to a new land as soon as we do this show today, aren't you, sir?
I am indeed. I'm heading to Kentucky, where my niece and her husband and their new baby is. And
last year you went to, is that the wedding at Fort Knox that you went to?
Yes, indeed. That was last year.
Wow. See that? How cool was that to be at Fort Knox? You're talking about money makeovers. You know, you're in the home of all the financial problems of the U.S.
I don't know if that's where the financial problems are. I think that's where they keep all the filthy lucre. It was very cool being on the military base. It was great to be able to see my niece again, and her mom, who I have not seen in over 2 decades, if not even more. That was a wonderful surprise. It was great to connect with family like that. Christy and I had a wonderful time. So we're going back.
Awesome.
Not to Fort Knox, but
to see the family.
Fort Knox, named after General Henry Knox from the American Revolutionary War.
So, moving on to the Dave Ramsey, and it's fine. The reason we brought this up is for the last couple of years, maybe because it's an alliteration, maybe because it's just easy. We've done Money May. It tends to be still early in the spring. New things are on the horizon. You've gotten past the Christmas bills. You've gotten past the winter. Spring is coming all over the U.S. and most of the world, it seems like. I think it's once you get to the other side of the world, it's the opposite season. But you deal with that. You're in the wrong side of the world. So, what we are talking about is how to manage your finances, and I've been facilitating a Dave Ramsey class, Financial Peace University, for my church for a while, and we thought it'd be a good idea just to kind of give you an overview. Obviously, this is going to be how Morton and I have gone through it separately. We've gone through the Total Money Makeover and the Financial Peace parts of this. We're going to give you our experiences and share Dave's advice. So at no means are we taking credit. We didn't make this up. We didn't take this as our own. We are building off of what he said, but we're giving you, as we do with everything in life, our perspective and our experience. So that's how we're doing it. And if you're ready, sir, let's get right to it.
That's right. Bills, bills, bills. You've got too much month and not enough money at the end of it.
Sorry, you didn't quite do that good enough for my 80s style. It should be bills, bills, bills. All right, go ahead.
Was that a song?
Girls, girls, girls. Are you kidding me? Come on. Mr. Tortuga himself.
Bills, bills.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
You got too much month and not enough money at the end of it. You want to do something about it, but don't really know how, or maybe you do, but it seems like too much effort. Either way, you keep digging yourself deeper into the money pit that is your credit card debt and your life. This episode, we're taking a close look at the credit card-free, cash-only guru Dave Ramsey. We'll show you how you, too, can get started on your way to living footloose and financially free. And all you have to do is live like no one else so that you can live like no one else.
Yeah, it's so easy, right? Just do it, right? All you have to do is be different. And we did the first class last night of the third session. So what I'm talking about is we've done, or the first session of the third class, however you want to say. I've for this church, I've done it twice before. We're starting up the new one. And something that was said, somebody who took the last one, her husband unlocks the building and does make sure that we're safe and the lights are on and everything. He's responsible for the building. So she took the class the last time. She's going back through it because why not? What's she going to do? Sit at home by herself, And she wants to learn more, and she wants to see what she gets out of this time. And she adds to it, having gone through the experience, she adds to the experience of everybody else. And what she said was one reason she loves the way Dave Ramsey talks about finances so much because he tells you it's going to be hard. It's not an easy way. He shows you through his own stories and just being brutally honest that this is not easy. Here's what you have to do. Here's what you have to do. And you keep doing it, but here's what you get when you do it. And he does say that. That's his phrase. All you have to do is live like no one else so you can live and give like no one else later on. And it's such an easy thing to say. I mean, I'm 8 years in, still working on it, still doing it, but I gotta say the first step in all of it is changing your perception. Changing your life one perception at a time, even.
Yeah. Because
after that first class, again, Jackie, who is the one who said that she loves that he's honest about it. In the front of the book, I should have brought my book up to show it, but in the front of the book that you get, it says your story right before it starts the chapter, and you write down answers to the question. And I think is what do you want to get out of this class, or what do you hope to gain by going through this? And she put down a number of things I can't remember off the top of my head exactly, but it was just learning how to save, just hopefully surviving through crisis and this and that and the other. Yeah, you got the audiobook on your phone. There you go. If you're live on YouTube or Google,
this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. I'm just.
Well, that's the Total Money Makeover. That's not the Financial Peace Workbook. Thank you very much. Anyway, I don't know why I snapped. So she had put down these things that I don't remember exactly what they were, but over the course of just 9 weeks, her whole paradigm, her whole life had changed. Her husband had a heart attack in the middle of it. Their cars died. All three of their cars that they were limping along with died right before the class started, and they were trying to find ways to make it work. And so many things changed just by listening to the lessons, that their life changed from hopeless to hopeful. When they had a heart attack, and she even revealed last night, they got I don't know if it's a bill, or this is what it costs, and we'll see what your insurance covers, but they got a bill from the hospital for $42,000. Morton, what would you do if you got a bill for $42,000?
I think I would poop a little bit.
I'm literally at the point in my life that I'm like, okay, it's such a big number, such a ridiculous number. I'm like, okay, good luck with that. It literally changes nothing in my life because I don't have it. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay. But what they did they went, you know, it didn't destroy them. They have hope because they're now managing their money. They've learned these principles, and it changed everything from immediately so they could see, oh, I'm not in despair. I'm not pooping myself. I'm going, okay, we can manage that like we manage everything else. It is what it is.
I think and you're right. It is all about your perception, and one of the biggest things that you're realizing you can in fact effect a change in your own life. We've talked about this in many other situations, whether you're chasing and catching your dreams, or if you're dealing with your health issues or anything like that. But the same is true with your money. You can effect a change in your life. And what I like about Dave Ramsey, and because I have started listening to Total Money Makeover again, just so I could refresh my memory, is like the steps are the same for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're starting at 25, if you're hanging in there at 45, or if you're just catching up at 55 or 65. It doesn't matter. The steps are the same. You do them in exact same order, and there's plans for the hiccups that happen. There's plans for when your car fails or your health fails or you lose your job or whatever, the company gets downsized. All these are taken into consideration, and as long as you keep moving forward with this, at least you're doing something. At least you're not sitting back and sticking your head in the sand, and you're finding yourself at 65 years of age going bankrupt. Having to find a way to do this. So you're absolutely right. It is the biggest thing is about the perception that needs to change in this. And you're not going to get any kind of instant success. It is going to take a bit of effort. It is going to take some movement in that direction.
And yet, at the same time, the paradigm is you do get instant success. It's crazy because everything's long term. Everything is this goal, but you start feeling different about your money instantly. You go from despair and anger and helplessness to as you start getting the little pieces, going, okay, I get that, and now I have a little more hope. And so, yes, you're right. On a physical, literal sense, you don't get instant success. You're not a millionaire overnight. But on an emotional, spiritual, mental level, it is instant. It's a great paradigm. I do enjoy it, and I just closed my document. Awesome.
We got tuning in today to Success Freaks. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about taking your first steps as we continue moving on with this Total Money Makeover.
Hashtag us on Twitter, Success Freaks. Stupid. Hashtag us on Success. One more time. Hashtag us on Twitter, Success Freaks, and let us know how your money May is going. I'll edit that. It's fine.
Sorry if I.
No, that's you. You're good. You picked up right where you should have picked up. It was just like I closed my document when I tried to open it, and then Darth Vader talked to me again because I forgot to mute him. It was like blah, 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 blah.
Well, if it's any consolation, I couldn't hear him at all.
I know. It just distracts the crap out of me.
And there you are, crapless.
Oh man. Okay. So now
something I don't want to forget. I wouldn't mind trying, and if we can do it at the end of all of this, putting in a little bit of something saying "Welcome to Success." Before the music and everything, just saying "Welcome to Success Freaks number 148." Today we're talking about blah. Just so that people
record it, and I'll send it to Hugh, and he'll get it put in.
Yep, that would be great. I just want to try doing that.
Whether it's what you're saying is one of those. As soon as you hear the show, you know what you're going to get from it.
Yep.
Okay. I dig it. I can do that. It's called a teaser.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
We can do that.
A teaser.
So in segment 2, taking your first steps. We're talking about the budget, the emergency fund, and the debt.
Yep. I added creating a written budget because having listened to this, it's something I didn't do last time, and he really emphasizes that.
Oh yeah.
And so you can go on about that, and I can talk about how I didn't do that last time, and now I'm something.
What I want to do is when you bring it in, you start talking about it. I can come in with how important it is, and then you can go, I didn't do it, and here's what I learned from not doing it.
Right.
Okay. All right. Are you ready?
Hang on. Yes, I got my timer ready for you to say your magic.
Do marker, time, and you go. All right. Marker, time.
Welcome back to Success Freaks. Today we're talking about baby step into a total money makeover. And in this segment, we're going to talk
Money.
about taking your first steps. How exactly do you do that kind of thing? What is it that you have to do? Do you have to look at the big ugly that is your bank account? Or do you have, what is it? And then what do you go from there? Well, one of the first things that you're going to do is create a written budget, and then you're going to be working on that emergency fund for those Murphy's Law emergencies, and then your debt snowball, which is going to take you all the way back to getting rid of all of that debt that you have on your credit cards. But first, creating a written budget. Charles.
Absolutely. Just like we do with the first segment of our show, we do an overview of everything we're going to try to talk about in the show, give you a taste of what's going on, and then we break it down. Dave does the same thing with his class. The very first night, it's called Super Saver, and he really hits on the importance of that emergency fund. But he talks about all the baby steps and where we're going and how we're going to get into it and this and that and the other. But the only homework that you have is that quick start budget. You have to do the budget instantly, the first night. You have to do this. The second class is zero-based budget, and he does the whole hour on budgeting. It's very, very important. It's something that changed my wife and I's lives at the time that we took this. Was about 8 years ago, and we would do the whole, okay, we know we paid our bills, we looked at our bank account, and then all of a sudden the money would be gone, and we'd have $300 or $400 left over, and all of a sudden it's not there. Where did it go? And that's, I think, most people's problems is you don't know where your money's going. But when we put everything on paper, and I'm not talking the rigid every last time, I'm talking about here's the bills, here's everything you don't think about, gas money, what's coming up this month on insurance, or Christmas is coming. You put everything down that you want to do on paper so you can see what's going on. It changes everything. Did you find that to be true for you, Mordant?
Well, here's the thing is that when I first went through this, and yes, I still need to go through this, I didn't create a budget. especially not a written thing. It's kind of a daunting task, and I'm not really sure exactly how, because the money that I have coming in fluctuates from weekend to weekend because of what I do, then the entertainment that I do, etc. My bills, I'm pretty good. I have an Excel sheet where I write out all of my bills each month and put down exactly what I've paid for that bill, and it also lets me know what bills I have paid, so I can go back and look at those and go, okay, well here this month is going to be cost me about this much, so I'm going to have to do that. And is there a place that he gives, or do you know of a place that gives examples on how this looks or how we should do this? Because it's kind of a confusing thing.
It is, absolutely. I can tell you, one, yes. Two, I can disagree with you. You have done a bit of a budget. If you're running your bills down, you're planning to pay these things. And that's really what a budget is. And even though the standard budget for people who work, I'm just going to say in a generic broad sweep, a 9-to-5 job where they get paid regularly, like I used to, that this check, this month I'm going to make however much. I'm going to make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever, how much you make a month. I'm going to bring in after taxes and everything. I know I'm going to bring this in. Or on this check it'll be this much, and this check it'll be this much. You've got an idea of what you're going to make. So the standard zero-based budget is set up for that. The quick budget is set up for that, to where you put in how much you're going to bring in, and then you do the priorities of how much your house costs or your housing costs. Like in your case, Morning, where you travel, you still have to pay rent at places or whatever. Blah, 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 blah. You go down the list. For me and for you, that's not easy because our income fluctuates all the time. There is 2 other budgets that he has that I don't have in front of me, and I don't know how to tell you to look them up. We'll put links. If we can find them for free access, we'll put links into it. If not, we'll encourage you to go to the Dave Ramsey site and sign up and take the class, because you get access when you buy the materials. But yes, there are budgets for that. What I have found to work for me still is the same thing that worked for me with a regular income. Was my wife and I made our own budget similar to yours, where maybe you're not using it the same way, but what we said is, okay, we're going into April. We know here's all of our bills. We know when they're due. The first week, and we broke it down by week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And if there's a week 5, because some months have a half week or another week or whatever, we know the dates. It's fine. And we know what's due. So we say, okay, week 1, we have these due, and we have to plan for it in the current month. So in the month of April, we had to make sure that the first week of May was taken care of. And then we knew week 2 was coming up. We know what week 3 is coming up. We also have a calendar with the days that the bills are due written on them, saying this is coming up in this week, so we can visually see it quickly. And that's, to me, the easiest way to manage the fluctuating income. Now, if you have income that surpasses your bills, there's absolutely a form that I personally can give to you, and hopefully we can find for free and link it into the show, that says, okay, I've paid my bills, now I have this left over, what am I going to do? And that gets into the debt snowball and how to pay that down.
Right now, on the budget, we have other things to talk about, so I
Sure.
bet I want to just ask: is it a weekly budget? Is it a monthly budget you're doing all the time?
Mine. Here's the great thing about Dave Ramsey: you find what works for you, and using his tools, using his principles, and he's very flexible, as Mornet was saying. It's really about a universal truth about managing your money, and not so much this is how you do it. And it's definitely not pay me $1,000 and you'll get rich next week. You know, those guys suck. They do. I'm sorry. I do a monthly. We set it up for May. You know, in this case, we set it up for the month of May, and it's the same budget every month with some additions. Like we know my motorcycle insurance is coming up in June, I think. So we're going ahead and putting it down now to try to mentally plan for it. But we do it 1 month at a time on one sheet of paper, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and we see the bill. So we don't necessarily know the income anymore, which we used to. We used to say, okay, I bring in this much for this check, this much for that check, and it would be broken down that way. So, okay, at the end of the month, or after we pay this set of bills, this much is left over. After we pay this set of bills, this much is left over. So we did a bi-weekly then. Now it's 1 whole month shot, and we go, okay, we know what's coming. As checks come in, as the money comes in, we pay the bills, and we're doing okay with it. We're not doing super great, but that's because of the money more than the budgeting.
One of the things I want you to take note of is that Charles uses the word "we" a lot.
Yeah.
Those of you who are couples or in relationships, it is going to be a "we" thing. It is going to be something that you're going to work on together. You know, he even recommends. There was a woman that asked him, you know, my husband's not interested in doing this at all. Should I get a separate bank account? And his advice was like, absolutely not. Don't do this unless you're intending to separate from him, unless you're intending to divorce from him. Do not create something different. You both have to work on this together in order for this to work. So find a way to work through that. And it may not feel like it's going to be bringing you closer together, but you're going to be forming your team. It will indeed force you to both look at the issue. So so one's not working against the other. You're both moving forward with this thing. The next thing we want to talk about is the emergency fund. The very, very first thing that you need to do is create a $1,000 emergency fund. And that is there in case anything else crops up, in case your car breaks down or something, the water heater goes out or whatever, those things that you don't plan for. Is you want to have a $1,000 cushion that you want to prepare so that you're not tempted to go and use your credit cards. Because eventually you're going to be credit card free, and if you don't have an emergency fund to take care of these things, when your car breaks down, I'll just use a credit card, and then you're going to keep using it and keep using it and keep using it. So you want to do that, and as soon as you get your $1,000 emergency fund set up, the next thing you want to do is create a fund that has 3 to 6 months of how much you have to spend to live on.
No, you're skipping a step.
I'm skipping a step.
Pay your debts off, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next section because we're about to hit the wall. But I will clarify that and how that works. But you actually, once you get your emergencies, you pay off your debt. So hashtag us on Twitter, Success Freaks. Find us on successfreaks.com and let us know if we're helping you and how we can help you. We'll be right back. Marco.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It was a great point. Because it's actually, it would make sense that you build that, but it really is, you dig that hole, you get rid of the hole, and then once you get rid of the hole,
use the money that you were spending on the credit cards. Okay, good. Let's. I'm going to introduce it. I want you to bring up that point.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'll even say that I jumped the gun, and then we'll talk about the debt snowball. So.
Because that's magic, is what that is. That's the only thing, and he doesn't call it magic, but I do. I mean, that's the only thing I'd say in all this. This is freaking magic. It's amazing. So let me answer this text real quick since we're on break. All right, done. Yes, my phone went off in the second segment.
That's what that
my
was.
God. We didn't go down. We didn't go down our checklist, and I blame you. I'll blame you.
Oh yeah, please do. Please do.
All right, so we're gonna go. Or even though we're gaining momentum, which actually Debt Snowball helps with that. So
Yep.
we're gaining momentum. We're gonna go back to Debt Snowball real quick, and then we'll hit the 3 to 6 months pretty quickly. The investment, the savings, and paying. And we're gonna tie in mentally. Here's how this works for you.
Okay.
And
And if we take a little bit of time on the Debt Snowball, that doesn't hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like you said, that's the magic.
Yeah, the magic's the Debt Snowball. The rest of it we kind of gloss over because when you start saying to somebody, pay your house off early, when you start saying to somebody 3 to 6 months expenses, there's such a huge disconnect that going through the Debt Snowball connects and like, oh, just like it just did for you, you know. Like, oh, yeah, okay, got it. So if you're ready.
Yep.
Marker time.
Welcome back to Success Freaks. Today we are taking baby steppers.
Steppers. Yes, we are.
let me try that
out
again.
with my baby.
Let me try that again. Welcome back to Success Freaks. Today we're a baby step into a total money makeover. And in the last segment we talked about taking your first steps. And right now we are gaining momentum. Now I kind of jumped the gun. I was talking about the 3 to 6 months of expenses you wanted to make sure that you were set up for, but I totally missed the Debt Snowball, which is the magic, quote unquote, magic of all of this.
Now let me throw something at you before we get to that to help you with the magic. If I said to you right now, Mordant, where you are financially, you need to be saving 15% of your income on top of your 10% tithe, which Dave recommends, and on top of saving money. You need to be investing 15%. Could you do it just right this second?
No. A lot of that money is going to bills.
Exactly. I mean, all of my money is going to bills right now. It's almost living paycheck to paycheck, but it's not. It doesn't have the stress of that. So I want to be clear. I'm not stressed out, but it's almost like that. So yeah, when you say to me, you should be saving for your retirement, I get it, but I can't do it. I own a house. I should be paying it off early. I get it, but I can't do it. Here's the magic. And Dave Ramsey does not call it magic. I do because of how it has transformed my life. One, the emergency fund is magic to me. Having that $1,000, and I did it $25 a month at a time. He recommends doing the automatic debit. I did that. I found an online account at the time it was called ING Direct. Now it's Capital One 360, and they're paying good interest rates. And it came recommended by some financial advisors. And I've used them for years, and I did an automatic withdrawal of $25 a month, which is a very slow crawl to $1,000. But as we got extras, we just killed it. We just threw money in. It took about 9 months to get $1,000. And in that time, we had a few emergencies, and they were drama, and they were crazy. But what happened when we got that $1,000 in there? We had an emergency. We had to fix something with the car, and we paid for it. And then we made it very important to put the money back in. And then we had another emergency, slowly but surely, and we paid for it. And since then, the emergencies have dwindled to almost non-existent. Now, they still happen. I just had to put a $900 compressor into my van for the air conditioner to work, so my kids don't die in August in Georgia. But I had the emergency fund, and that's what it's there for. It's for emergencies. There's other things to do, yada, yada, yada. But that's magic. I mean, it makes emergencies go away. It's kind of magic that way.
Yeah, Dave talks about how, with Murphy's Law, all the, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. It makes you, it doesn't really make you Murphy proof, but it seems like when the bad stuff comes, it doesn't hit you as hard. You don't freak out as much, and honestly, it does come less and less and less and less as you've got that cushion in there. I remember in my 20s and 30s, just every other week there was something else that needed to be paid for that I didn't have the money for. Now with an emergency fund, something comes up and I'm like, all right, there it is. That's what it's there for.
Yeah, and with the budget, you see things coming. With the emergency, you see stuff coming. Christmas is every year. Depending on how you pay your insurance, you know that time of year is coming. You see this stuff happening. With the emergency fund, the emergencies go away and you can pay for them. And then
now, Christmas is not an emergency.
Yeah, but a lot of people think it is. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but you can't treat it like that. You don't use your.
No, I'm not saying you use your emergency fund. I say budget. With the budget, you go, okay, Christmas is coming. Let me put money away toward it. Yeah. And so you're still going, how are you talking about Christmas and saving money when I can't pay my bills? Well, when you do a budget, there's a thing called found money. All of a sudden, you know where every dollar's going. You realize you're eating out 5 times a week. That wasn't me, but that has been examples. You're eating your retirement, you're eating your Christmas, or you're going to movies all the time. And I'm not knocking people. I mean, if you got the money, I mean, there was a season in my life where I had the money, and my wife went to movies every weekend during the summer. She and I. I know Mordit goes to a movie maybe once a week or so, but it's planned for. I mean, that's all in your budget, yada, yada, yada. But when you're not paying your bills and you don't know where your money's going, the budget fixes that. That's what I'm talking about with Christmas. But the debt snowball. When you have $5,000 credit cards, $10,000. I've had a friend who had $50,000 in debt on his credit card, plus school loans, plus a car payment, plus anything that's not the house. It'll make you drown. I'm not going to count them down right now, but I have at least 5 debts on me that could drown me right now. But because of the debt snowball, I actually had 10, about 8 to 10 before. And here's how the debt snowball works. You take the lowest amount, not the lowest interest rate, which a lot of people logically say, oh, pay off the lowest interest or the highest interest rate first because it's costing you more. You can't stick with that. You don't get traction. You don't gain momentum. With the debt snowball, you pay off the lowest amount due. And at the time that I started this, I had $1,200 on the Best Buy card. And I just started hitting it, okay, I fixed my budget. I see what my true bills are. I cut out the random going to the gas station and buying Mountain Dews and Snickers bars and doing stupid crap. Oh, I found money. I have $200 left over. How'd that happen? I'm paying my bills and I have money? I don't understand this concept. That's what the budget did. So you take whatever little money you have left over and you put it on you take the minimum payment of the credit card, and for me I think it was like $60 or less, and you put whatever money you have left over on it. And again, it fits your style. You don't have to dump 100% of leftovers into it. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, but you have to put extra on the card.
Something that I'm doing right now is I've been taking my, I'm paying the what I'm usually paying. Usually it's more than minimum on all my cards, so that I'm kind of making a bigger buffer there. But I'm also taking 10% of my money, which is normally my tithe. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start feeding this towards my debts. And I've been knocking away at the smallest of my credit cards, and which was like $5,500. I'm now at under $2,500.
Good. Awesome.
So that's whittling away. Anytime I get extra money for an extra Tortuga gig that I get, or we had some money that was thrown at us so that we could take care of us financially or for our taxes, I took $1,000 and threw it at that. So it's whittling this thing away. My monthly payment, my minimum payment, has gone from $250 to under $100. I'm still paying that $200 a month.
Right.
That's not part of my 10%. I'm doing that plus my 10% so that I can whittle this down. And then when this goes away, the next step's going to happen. Go ahead.
Well, let me talk about. Let me throw out for other people. Now that might work for you. I hear that and then instantly go, that's not the way I would do it. And that's why we're presenting both sides of this coin, because you have to find your way. Because personally, what I would do is pay minimums on every other card, every other debt. Just pay what they ask for, and take that extra money that you've been spreading out all over these debts and hammer that one card. That's what I did. I took away all the extras, hammered that one card, got it paid off in like 2 months, and was like, oh my God, we're free of that. Then you take what you're paying on that card. So you just use the example of 200 plus 10%. So let's just say it's 250. I don't know. Let's just say it's 250. And you've paid that card off. Now you take that $250 and you put it onto your next debt. And let's say that's a $200 minimum on your next debt. So now you're paying $450 on that one debt. And you can see, listeners, and you can see more as it snowballs. And I figured out, by the time I'm paying my last debt off, doing that process, putting the max, and I don't do this debt snowball right now. I can't afford it. I literally cannot afford it. I have to make more money. I have to get a bigger shovel, as Dave says. But when I get back to my debt snowball, as I'm paying this stuff down, and it's paid off a number of debts. Like I said, I think I went from 10 to like 5. I have 5 debts now. By the time I get to my last debt, I'll be paying like $800 a month towards that debt. I mean, it will knock it out so fast. Plus any extra, like you're saying, bonuses or favor.
Found money.
And it just snowballs. So that gets you through to where it's like, holy crap. I mean, once I actually sat down and figured out my non-mortgage, not the house, when I figured out all my debt but the house, I'm paying out almost $1,000 a month, or I was at the time paying out almost $1,000 a month, and I can't pay my bills. Why? There's why. Because I owe other people too much money.
Right. Really quick, if you have, let's say you have $6,000 in the bank and you're earning 2% on that $6,000, and you have a credit card debt that is costing you 24%, and you're like, no, my savings needs to make me money. You're losing money. It is better to take 5 of that $6,000 and pay off some of that credit card debt, so that you're not losing 24%, 22% versus the 2,000 you think you're going to be gaining. So you know that's also a place where you're getting found money.
And we'll come into this for the last segment. We're talking about gaining, making 18% on your investments. We'll talk about that, or 20%. You know what? Actually, because we redid it, here we go. I will say this real quick. What Dave says is, he goes, Dave, there's nobody, especially in these days, in these times right now economically, there's nobody who will pay you 20% interest on any investment. He goes, I know that. I'm going to use my little insurance code that I have here. I know that, but I know where you can get 18% by cutting up your credit card and paying it off, or 24%. So if you can get your card paid off, that's gaining 20% interest because you're not paying it out. So keep talking. Let us know. I mean, there's so much to get here, so much excitement about how to manage it, so much it's changed my life. It's made things viable for me. Hashtag us Success Freaks on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook.com/Success Freaks, and we shall be right back.
It's a good segment.
Yeah.
Brother, I'm going to say it again. I said it last night. I'm going to say it again. I really like how we do this show. It's fast, it's furious, and it's if you like hearing what we have to say, it's interesting.
Yeah. And honestly, as many times as I've personally heard it, and we're going to talk about this in this next section, is as many times as I've heard it, the reason why we do this every year is because you get something new out of it. You're getting something new. You're in a different place. You're doing something different. And even if you don't change your behaviors, you've been changing your behaviors. And you'll find, as you've listened to the book, you'll notice you automatically change something, and that's why it's important to keep doing it. I can't help but think about Angie listening, because she's heard this from me a billion times. 'Cause I've talked about bear crawling, and I've thought we've done it here, and yeah, I'm sure that there's probably something new for her today, some new click, hopefully. If nothing else, she's entertained by us. So, all right. So segment 4 is to level up. I think we're doing good on the debt snowball. I think we're hitting a target audience.
Yeah.
That says,
bring it up in
your business. Why don't we? Go ahead.
I'm going to bring up in the beginning. I'm going to bring up because you brought up cutting up your credit cards. I want to bring that up because that's people are emotionally addicted to that, and it's very, very difficult.
So let's talk about let's get rid of this. Well, I'm going to scratch. I'm going to get rid of it. We're not going to mention this because we've already talked about it. Where's format? Strike. Okay, so what we're talking about, the ultimate reason we move forward, freedom and the ability to breathe, all that relates right into this whole debt snowball, getting off, cutting the string. It's something I realized last night in the class that did take me a while to get to. I will share about credit and how it holds you back and bad decisions. This will be our personal level up. Here's what I did to level up myself. And then at the 3-minute mark, we will go in. Oh, you know, I need to check real quick. I did not check Twitter. I totally forgot. So let me do that right now. Hashtag sis.
I don't want to mess with anything in case all of a sudden it goes, oh, you're doing something. Right now, my everything seems stable.
Yep, nothing. Twitter all of a sudden died. I mean, literally, the last post we have that's hashtagged is April 1st, and that was us.
Huh.
So we need to use the hashtag more is what it really comes down to, and we can do that individually. It's fine. Okay. So here we go. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Marker time.
Welcome back to Success Freaks. Today we are baby step into a total money makeover. We've showed you how to take your first steps, gaining momentum with getting your finances back in order, moving towards financial freedom, and now we're going to talk about leveling up. But something that Charles mentioned in the last segment, we're talking about the debt snowball and how you get rid of your credit card debt, going from one to the next until eventually all the money that you were paying on 5 credit cards is now spent on the one that you have left over. And as you go, cutting up your credit cards along the way so that you're not have that itch to use them again, so that it's not there, that emergency that you're talking about, hey, in case something goes wrong. That is what you want to move away from.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, as you start to understand this, because you get religious about it in your own life, and I say anything's religious when it's just all the time on your mind. I'm not talking about actual established religion or Christian faith or Muslim faith, anything. I'm talking about a religious action. To me is something that you just do all the time. Hence the term, I do it religiously. You also get religious about it and sharing it with others. And something that was said by the people in the class last night, even the new people, was I realized, this is what they said, I realize I have to stay out of their lives and get my house in order. You know, I want to tell people this, I want to share this, but I have to get my stuff in order. There's nothing wrong with sharing it, but I used to beat on Mort a little bit because he'd be like, I've got my Best Buy card. I'm like, no! And I mean, I don't know if it ever made you feel bad or not, but I know I felt bad talking to you about it. And so we've had to level up our lives. And as you've heard, he's paying stuff off. Dave recommends you cut the cards immediately, not when they're paid off, immediately. And here's the level up. We're the level up guys. We're here to help you level up your debt management in this particular case. Not just your money. All of May is going to be talking about money and finances and our experiences and different aspects of it. But I got to tell you, I went through this 8 years ago. Got religious about it. Hated debt. Hated it. And really worked hard, cut down things, cut my debts down to 5, really made a lot of traction, but I didn't. Here's the problem about being religious about it. This is the difference between religion and faith. Faith is a lifestyle. I had 40% faith, 60% religion on my debt management. So whereas I definitely had a different way of life. I definitely came up with cash. We can tell a story about how I took the family to Disney on cash, saved up for it. It was great, blah, blah, blah. But little things got away from me. As my income increased, I didn't manage it as tightly as when it was little. And so I didn't dig myself out of the hole as fast. At some point, something happened that overwhelmed our emergency fund. And it was a moment of crisis that I had to choose a path. And I mean, my computer went out, and that's how I earned my living. Even at that time, working for a company, I had to have a computer at work. Something happened with the car. It became undrivable. And I made the decision. And, of course, right at that time, we got a 0 interest offer for a credit card. All right, well, we're just going to use this right now, and we're going to get rid of it. And we applied for it, and we got it, and immediately felt bad about it and didn't listen to that feeling. And I kept it. And then later on, lost my job, and yeah, here's this payment hanging over me that I could have been without. It's not a huge payment. It's $100 a month, but right now, $100 a month can make a big difference in my life. I've taught this class, or I've facilitated. I don't like to say I taught it because I'm not teaching it. Dave's teaching it. I'm just helping funnel the information, answer questions, and give my advice, just like I do here on the show. But I've been in this class. This is the 3rd one in a row right now. In the first 2, I talk about cutting up credit cards, and I say I never ask you to do that. If you want to do it, it really is an individual thing. But here's why I don't, because I still have this one. But I keep going, I'm not going to use it. And I haven't. I haven't used it in a long time. Something that leveled up for me last night was I realized, just like as I viewed Mornet with his Best Buy card, anytime he wants something electronic, he doesn't really have the freedom to shop everywhere because he has this card and has the money. So if he's going to get it, he's going to go to Best Buy. That's one of the reasons why Best Buy gets you to get their card, right? To me, it's a trap. You can only go to the store. Now, he can go somewhere else. He knows he can go somewhere else. But it's a mental thing. For me, having that card in my wallet, every time something comes up and I'm like, I'm not sure if I could pay for my gas today, it pops in my mind. Here's why you cut it up. And I could cut it up today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it with the class when it's time. But I decided last night I'm finally going to cut this thing because it's an anchor holding me back. anytime I think about this thing, I feel bad. And I know it's a bad choice to even have it in my wallet. I'm going to cut it because that's where I start to get my freedom and be able to breathe.
That's right. Something that's going to keep you back like that. You want to move forward without it. Now, I still have my Best Buy card. I still have 4 of my cards that just talking right now makes me want to start chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping, so that you can move forward to that zone. And especially the card that I'm working on right now. If I were to cut that today, that's just going to give me impetus to get to the next card faster, so I can start whittling that one down. So, the buffer, the safety net's there again. Creating that. It's a weird psychology, but it's something you move towards. Something that we haven't mentioned yet. If you can find some way to make this fun for yourself, if you can find some way to make this a game and that you can get excited about, look, I'm putting more money towards it. Look, I'm getting closer to being financially free. Instead of spending $800 a month on my credit cards, I'm putting $800 a month into my life. Into my savings, into my retirement, and if you're so young that you can't think about retirement, into that thing that I want to save up for, whatever it is, you want to move towards that. So make a game of it. Have fun with this, so that you'll keep doing it and you get excited about it.
I want to talk about that cutting the card a little bit. You touched on the impetus to move forward. It makes you want to get to that next one, and that's great. What else it does? It forces you to look at reality. So when my car broke down and I didn't have the money right then to fix it, I had to make a choice, fix a car or fix a computer. Well, the computer is what brought in money. That had to be fixed. You get in this mindset, my car needs to be fixed. I have 2 cars. One is paid off. Actually, I have 3 vehicles, a motorcycle that's paid off, my car that's paid off, and a minivan that is way ahead of schedule of being paid off, because for the longest time that was the debt snowball and we hammered it hard, but it's not paid off yet. It wasn't the van. The van's what can hold the entire family. We have to keep that running. That's the only way we can go and do our stuff. But the car, my car as it were, broke. Something went wrong with the radiator. If I had said, okay, I just don't do credit. Credit is a killer. It's going to drown me. If I said, okay, I'm going to make the choice. I'm going to fix my income, and we'll park the car. We would have seen quite quickly, we could have saved up the $100 a month that we were paying on the car to pay this debt off, to pay the $300 bill on the car. And that's something you get lost with when you have a credit card. And I want to talk more about that now and beyond, because we're running out of time. I know Morna has a lot to say on it, and I've monopolized the time today.
Well, one thing that, in conjunction with what you were just saying, one thing leads to another. You get the card out, you pay for your car, you have the card out. Oh, you know what, I'm out. I'm just going to go ahead and get lunch. Or you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and get this. It's a trap, and you have to be careful of it. But as you were saying, we're getting close to that time where we are moving on. So let's talk about what's coming up really quickly.
We have the Georgia Renaissance Festival. It's the one time where all the planets align, and Mordant and I are in the same geographical location, and miracles happen. Laying on of hands to your wallet so we can get paid. All right, let me get the calendar. It is Memorial Day weekend. If you are in the Georgia area, that's North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Florida, come out and see us. It will be Saturday, May 24th at the Georgia Renaissance Festival. That can be found at, I think it's GARenaissancefestival.com. Just Google Georgia Renaissance Festival.
GARenfest.com. Just Google Georgia Renaissance Festival. It happens in Fairburn, Georgia, which is just southwest off of 85, just southwest of the Atlanta Loop.
Yep.
So we're going to be out there. If you want to come out and see us and just say hi, shake our hands, or chat us up about anything that we've ever talked about, come out and see us. You're going to see we'll be there. There'll be a couple of the other Success Freaks there. I think Success Freaks Kim will be out there somewhere. Our buddy Hugh from the Road Show is going to be there.
Angie's going to be there.
Angie Rock Girl is going to be there. So come on out, say hi. We'd love to chat you up about anything, even if it's some of the topics or just how we do the voodoo that we do.
Yeah, our good friend Amanda's going to be there. She's flying in, so that's going to be
Excellent.
fun. So yeah, come see us. Also, Check out everything we do. Again, we've talked about Twitter, hashtag Success Freaks on Twitter. We're at success_freaks on Twitter. And you can check us out there. Check us out at facebook.com/Success Freaks. And where else, sir?
You can go to successfreaks.com. Everything, all of our social media runs through that. So just check out successfreaks.com. If you happen to have an iPod or some way that you're connected to iTunes, we're available on iTunes as well. And do us a favor. Right now, you guys have been a little bit quiet. Come to our Facebook page. Go to our Twitter. Say hi to us and let us know that you're out there. Let us know what you think of the show. It's been a little quiet out there, and we're just, we see that you're downloading and listening to the show, but we want to hear back from you. We want to hear if you have something to say to us as well. We want to hear how you feel about things or what you think. So Facebook is probably one of the best ways that you can go to our Facebook page, but anywhere else.
Take us home, Daddy.
All right, this has been R. Mordant Mon.
And I'm the Show Me the Money Bear.
Ciao, Success Freaks. Boom, baby.
All right.
I think we just did it.
And on beyond, what do you want to talk about? Because we can talk about. I didn't mean to do that. We could talk more about cutting the credit cards. We can talk about
some of our personal experiences, some of what we're going through now, maybe, or whatnot. We'll talk about. Hey, you guys are listening. You get to hear how we're in the trenches as well, and successes and failures.
Okay, that's great by me. I'm going to do a marker time, and I'll start us off. I put 16 minutes and 30 seconds. On it because that still gives a window for music and everything else to be edited in.
And don't forget this time the that front bumper that we're going to do, or the teaser.
Right. So, all right, and let's see. Marker time. Welcome to On Beyond Success Freaks, where we like to go bigger, better, more into the topics of the night. This is episode 148. We've talked about baby stepping to a total money makeover. We've covered a lot of the Dave Ramsey principles with our own experiences, our own take, some explanation. We got to the ones that are very, very important to us, which was the debt snowball, the emergency fund. But I think now we're going to talk about where we are in reality, where we were when we started, what we've done, give you a real honest success freak look at how we've done it and our failures and our progress. So, and honestly, I'm going to start off with the story, but first, I'm Charles McFall, as you've heard. With me, of course, is R. Mordant Mon. We are still on YouTube. You can find us there. This is still being recorded and broadcast. But I actually had somebody come in to the first class I did, and it was a full room. And I'm always honest about what goes on. And I walk a fine line between saying exactly where I am and this is where and encouragement, because there's ways to tell the truth. And I will share my decisions, I'll share my victories, I'll share some of my failures, but I don't always share everything because I want people to be encouraged. I don't want people to look at me and go, and get discouraged. Go, man, this is hard. You've listened to this 8 years ago. Where are you in the process? And I go, I'm still this short version, because every path is individual. You can't base your path off of me. Well, at the end of this class, somebody who is associated with the church and works for or is endorsed by Dave Ramsey. I'm not exactly sure how it works for them, but somebody who's associated with the church that sponsors the class came in. He wanted to come and visit and share some stuff. By all means. And he got up at the end of this thing, and not in a super ugly way, because I will share anything in my life. I'm not afraid, but I felt like he kind of called me out. He's like, well, where are you in the process? I'm like, same place I was 3 weeks ago when I shared with the class. I'm still, at that time, on the debt snowball. As I've been working on that, and life has changed a few times, and I didn't do it appropriately. I had a 5-year plan that's now 8 years in the running, because I didn't necessarily stick with it, but also life changed. I added 3 more kids since I went through this. And that's a little bit of an excuse, because I could have managed better. But he called me out, and I was like, what good does that bring? But I think the class responded and went, okay, we get it. Now, I've been honest on the show. I'm not even in the debt snowball because I'm struggling to pay my bills. I'm making everything. It's a startup company. I'm an entrepreneur. It's a new thing. you have to take care of what you have to take care of. Dave talks about that over and over again. We want to share with you where we are to give you hope, to show you that it will work. It has worked. I couldn't be doing this startup company if I hadn't already worked these principles. And I never, ever want you to be in a position where you feel like somebody's going to call you out and look down their nose at you. That same guy wanted to teach the next class, and the church stood behind me, thankfully. I mean, I was hey, whatever you guys want. But I think they felt like he wasn't the right person because of his attitude. And his attitude was, you have to be doing this. And you'll never get that here. So, Mornet, where do you want us to start on sharing hope with people?
Well, one of the things that, this is kind of my second run through. And I'd already started doing, I'm on the debt snowball right now. I really need to work on my emergency fund, because I just checked it today. And I'm like, oh, there's really not much there, is there? I've been working on my debt snowball because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, as Dave says.
Yeah.
Of my credit card debt, of spending $800 a month on that could be going for anything else. If I had no debt whatsoever, $800 a month could be going to my retirement plan. It could be going to saving up for whatever. And the trick is, you don't want to just declare bankruptcy, because if you do that, then you really haven't learned any method. You haven't learned how to live without credit cards. You've just wiped them all out. Because I have friends who are just they took a mortgage on their house and they cleared up their credit card debt. And then they took another mortgage on their house, boom, the credit card debt came back again, and they cleared up that credit card debt. And it's just like, it's a never-ending story where they're like 3 and 4 times mortgaged out. And you've learned no practical application. So right now I'm busy doing that and taking care of that, because I do want to be financially free. I do want the money that I'm making right now to go towards something more than that thing that I wanted at one time. I remember I got one of my newest credit cards. It was a $12,000 credit card, and within 3 months, sure, I went to Thailand. Sure, I had a lot of dental work done. Sure, blah, 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 but within 3 months, maxed. And now I've got that one too. Now when I go to the bank and they say, hey, you've been approved for a credit card, I say, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. So we're going through this too, and it's not pretty, but it can be fun, and I am feeling excited about it. And talking about money this month and re-listening to Total Money Makeover on I got it via audible.com. Listening to that book again has renewed my vigor for wanting to do this, and I can't wait till I pay off my first credit card so I can move on to my next one.
I do want to touch on bankruptcy for a second, because honestly, being the success freak, I'm looking at having to file that because I'm just not making enough money, and I try to get a job. I'm making more money for myself being an entrepreneur than I could make with the jobs that were offered to me. But here's what Mornet is saying, and here's what Dave says. You don't just file it, which is what I did the first time. I've been through bankruptcy because I went to a bankruptcy lawyer and went, I don't know what to do. What should I do? What do you think they're going to tell me? File bankruptcy. I wasn't bankrupt. I was what you were talking about, Mornet. I was taking out stupid loans on the house and stupid loans on the credit card, and everything was stupid debt. I mean, somebody maybe someday could make an argument for okay debt. And I'm not talking about your house. Even though that we'll talk about that in a second. I'm not talking about I've been taught all my life you'll always have a car payment, and no, you won't if you do it right. You'll be able to buy cars, but that's neither here nor there. I did just file bankruptcy then, but what Dave says is I've heard he rarely ever advises this on the show because it's rarely true, but there are true cases when you're just buried and you can't make enough money, and that you truly are bankrupt. I'm not there yet, but I'm looking at the reality that might be the case. So again, you have to look at the reality, and I advise everybody, if you ever felt like investing in your life, and I hate to use that word because so many shills, so many flim-flam guys out there say, you need to invest in your life and buy my program, and that's not what I'm saying, but there you do have to. Sometimes you just have to pay to get some information. And you can listen to the Dave Ramsey Show for free. It's on his website. There's an app that'll download. I think there's a Dave Ramsey app. You can listen to his show for free and get a lot of the same principles that he talks about, because it's just not in that order. It's just not in a classroom setting. But he's always teaching these principles. You can go to the library. I know my library has the Total Money Makeover. You can check it out and read it for free. You can find your local radio station for free. There's a lot of ways to still learn these principles for free. Are you understanding me?
I get it.
But-
It's free. If you want it, it's free.
Yeah.
But you got to actually do something.
But you have to
get on
do
the button,
something.
get there.
But you can also, man, I got to tell you, the best money I ever spent in my life ever was I spent about $130 for the online version because I didn't want to go to a class. It's actually cheaper to go to a class and get the books that you keep forever, that you can reread, that you can re-listen, that you can share with people. It will change your life. Get these principles, learn them, because Morton and I, we just can't go over. We don't have the time to go over everything and really get into all the details. But understand that every path is different, and you really change your life, you change your paradigm, you change your mentality by looking at this. Now, there's a couple, Angie reminded me, there's a couple of questions that always come up in these classes, Morton, and I'm going to ask you the question, and I know you'll get to her answer because it's the right answer.
Right.
But people talk about, well, you have to have credit to entertain clients if I'm running a business. You have to have a credit card so I can take them out to dinner. You have to have credit cards to fly. What's your answer to that, sir?
The most successful, we're talking about just business, but this is true in life. The most successful businesses are debt-free. You know, they're not borrowing money to be able to work. You don't need a credit card. You have a debit card. A debit card works everywhere right now, as well as a credit card. There may be some places like some rental cars where they're like, no, you have to have a credit card, or other places. But there are those who you don't have to use it. Debit card works everywhere, and it's your money. I recommend paying cash because there's an emotional tie to that.
Yeah.
Even with my debit card, I'm like, oh, I've got enough money. Oh, I've got enough money. And then I look and I'm like, ooh, I have less money than I thought now.
And that's part
If
of
I
the
have
budget.
cash on hand, I'm not as willing to pay because I know I only have this much money for the week or, you know, the month or however you want to do it. But you don't have to have a credit card. You can have a debit card, especially if you have a debit card that you've put money into that
Yeah.
you're using for these specific reasons.
And you can get, I have a business debit card. I've got a personal one and a business one. And here's what Dave Ramsey says. When you run into a place that says, no, we don't take credit, bye-bye. Because there's everybody has services everywhere. And honestly, it doesn't matter. My debit card, both of them, are backed by Visa. And that means they can be run as credit everywhere.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's
I've
still
gone
not
to-
credit, but it can be run as that. If they go, we can only run credit. No, it still uses the cash out of my account.
Yep, I've gone to the gas. I've gone to the gas station and it'll say, "Is this a debit card?" And if you say no or you hit, you know, the cancel, it will treat it as a credit card. Some people don't want to use their PIN number in front of, you know, in front of the tellers, in front of the, you know, the cashier, because there's cameras all around. You don't have to. You can use it as a credit card. So go ahead and do that. That's gonna make a difference in your life. But again, pay cash. Learn to do that.
Exactly.
Train yourself to do this so that as you're cutting up your credit cards, you're not as afraid. You're already a cash, quote unquote, cash business. You know, that's one of the things until I went on the Tortuga cruise, I was completely cash. There was no credit card happening for me. And then of course I hiccuped. And now
hiccups happen, right?
Right, but you repair the damage. You don't give up. You don't give up on what you're doing now because it's going to make your life so different. Those of you who are in your early 20s, if you do this and you have no credit card debt and all the money that you're making, you're putting towards, you know, you're putting towards your retirement. By the time you get to your retirement, by the time you get to 65 years of age, you'll be retiring on millions of dollars. Most mutual funds. I believe the number that I heard recently, most mutual funds will give you an average of 12%, and that's over time. So 12% over time of however much you're putting into this, yeah, even if you're making less than the average, millions of dollars by the time you hit 65. I think you can live off of millions of dollars.
Right. And the example that Dave gives, real quick, in the very first chapter, is somebody from the age of 19 to age 25, I think it was, put away $2,000 a year. That's $166 a month. And if you manage your money and you have the right job, you can do that. If you can't, you can't. But there are definitely young people who can see that potential.
That's beer money.
Yeah,
that's drinking money that you could put aside.
Exactly, $166 a month. And at age 25, Joe Blow stopped. Didn't put another dime into his retirement. Still retired with almost $2 million without ever putting anything extra in. But if you start at 25 and you put in $2,000 a year for the rest of your life and you hit, I forget the number, I think the number was 65 when they pulled the retirement out.
Right.
It was $700,000 less because of just the way compound interest works. So definitely earlier is better. The sad thing that I always tell in my class is when I was 20, 21, 20, 21, somewhere in there, somebody taught me that principle of compound interest, and I just didn't get it.
Right.
And I had the money to invest, and I could have left it alone. And right now, even had I left my investments alone, I had $6,000 when I cashed it out, and that was before kids. So you're talking about 9, 10 years ago. I'd probably have 20, 30, 40,000 in there right now, just leaving it alone. And I would have something to know that when I get older, I at least have something to look forward to having. But I have to start over because I made mistakes. But the thing that Dave says, and we touched on this in the main show, it doesn't matter where you are in life and how old you are. As long as you're drawing breath, you can move this forward. You know, if you're living on Social Security, there's still emergency funds that you can do. If you're less than $25,000 on income for the household, and if you're on Social Security, there's a very good chance you will be. It's $500 for emergency funds, but you can still work this out because it's so amazing how many people who don't have very much money coming in still have debt, and that's the key. Let me throw this one other question at you that people bring up every time. If you follow Dave's plan, like Mordant and I are so passionate about right now, and the passion does go up and down, and it does hiccup, and that's why we do this every year, and that's why I love teaching this class, because I hear it every other couple of months, is it renews that passion going, I know where I can be. I know where I can be. If you get where you're going to go, Mordant, it's cash only. We have no credit score. How do you buy things with no credit score?
You save up. I mean, there are people who are buying their houses. There are people who are buying cars. You come up to somebody and you have cash, you get the cash price of something. Mm-hmm. And you say, oh, come on, buying a house? How am I going to do that? You put aside a house payment for a number of years and throw extra money at it. You put aside $600. You put aside $800 a month, a house payment.
Yeah.
You know, at this thing. And you do that for however many months, however many years, it's going to be a lot less than your 15 or 30 years. You could have your house paid for and pay cash for your house within 5 years.
Yeah.
I think the number was. I just listened to that recently, and it's amazing. And your friends are going to make fun of you. Your friends who are and family members who are up to their eyeballs in debts, they're going to make fun of you. They're not going to understand. But it doesn't matter because this is your life. This is you and who you're with. This is your life. You can live like no one else so that later on you can live like no one else. And later on when they are declaring bankruptcy at 65, you can rest easy that you're not going to have to do that.
Yeah.
And maybe you can give to them and help them. Find some way to help them out. Although I don't know if you want to do that.
And touching on the house, because it's such a sticky widget when people talk about it, you don't even have to save up the whole amount. Dave talks about, and you need to look this up online. I'm not an expert. I can't share all of it. But it's called manual underwriting. If you save up a $20,000 payment, for me, when I get rid of all my debt and don't change my income, which is a sorry state of affairs if I can't make more money, but if I don't change my income and get rid of all my debt, I can save up $20,000 in less than 2 years. And you put that down and you get what's called manual underwriting, you can still get a loan to buy the house. And you still only have it be a percentage of your income. Yeah, but definitely look that up. Go to Financial Peace University or fpu.daveramsey.com. Sign up for a local class. The class is, I can't speak for everybody because I don't know if Dave Ramsey requires it to be free because I didn't actually set up the class. I just started facilitating it. But I know for our purposes, the class is free. You just buy the materials from them. We have no control over that. You can come to the class without material. You won't get as much out of it. That's on you. But the materials are $100. I advise everybody to get into a class and to learn this material and to get it. Go to your library, read the book, do whatever you have to do. And that's what I have to say about it. I think we're wrapping up. What do you have to say about it, sir?
No, I think you've said everything that needs to be said. If you have more interest in this, definitely get just like Charles says, get the book, get the audio, whatever it is. Contact us at Success Freaks, and we will point you in the right direction. And if you're curious about how we're doing or what we're doing, we're happy to answer those questions as well, because we are indeed in the trenches with you. We're not, casting this out here from on high. We all have the same kind of issues. We're human just like you are, and we're making our own, baby stepping our way to a total money makeover.
And I would like to say, if you're if you were willing to drive anywhere in the Georgia area, and it's on you how far you want to drive, but the class is under Church in the Now in Covington, Georgia, I'd love to have you in my class. And it's really Dave's class, but in the one I'm facilitating. Yeah, I'd love to because it's Success Freaky. We really bring, I can't help it. I mean, it's who I am. I bring Success Freaks to what he's teaching and what I've learned from it. And honestly, would love to have you there if you want to come. But go anywhere you are in the country or in the world. I know they teach Dave Ramsey classes all over the world. So do it. Do it.
Do it.
And, one last thing is let us know how we can help your life. Let us know that we are touching your life. I got to tell you, man, sometimes it's hard when everything is going on in the chaos of life. It's hard to understand what we're doing with Success Freaks if you don't tell us. If you don't go, man, we really appreciate the show. We're not asking for donations. We're not saying our hand. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'd love to hear an email from you saying this helped me. This is what I learned. Or even add back, hey, you missed this part. We'd love to give you our advice on it.
And every once in a while, hey, what the hell are you thinking?
Yeah. I just saw a comment on our webpage on one of our shows that I had missed that says, I love that you guys can say ass and then turn around and refer to scripture. It's awesome. And that helps. That kind of feedback helps. It's like, yeah, okay, great. We hit you where you are. That's what we do, and we just love to hear from you more.
I just want to mention that the word ass is mentioned in scripture, so as in jawbone of An, or was it Balaam whose ass spoke to him? So hey, it's biblical.
I think it was Harry Potter, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here, man.
All right, thanks for tuning in to Ambiance Success Freaks. This has been R. Mortimer.
And I am Charles McFall.
Ciao, Dream Hunters. Boom, baby.
Very cool. All right, let me undo Angie show and broadcast. So now she should.
I'm going to stop my recording because.
And I'm going to stop the broadcast.